Networking is absolutely critically important. It's amazing how people that you may have only had a passing relationship with or only just know of and not really know can come back in your life a year or 2 years later and have such a big impact. So yeah, absolutely.
And I just started to see the intersection of both of those interests. And what I wanted to do, I thought originally that I wanted to go right into law school, but I had a good friend who was a recruiter for Teach for America, and after learning more about the program, I thought it would be great to be able to not only go to a community and try to give back to the educational system just that I had received so much from. My mom was a teacher for 26 years, but also that I wanted to learn more about some of the populations that I might be serving, because I studied abroad in Chile, which just is a very different cultural situation than, you know, Mexican immigrants that are coming to the United States. So I specifically chose to teach in the Rio Grande Valley, which is where there is quite a bit of an immigrant population, and absolutely loved it. Really connected with kind of the small town community, and I got to learn a lot more about some of the issues they were facing with border security, and kind of just the fact that they were political and economic refugees coming for trying to find a safe place to live in the United States. And while I was at St. Ben's, I did an internship in DC through the DC internship program here with Claire and Matt, and at that time, I was in Senator Klobuchar's office, and they were actually debating an immigration bill that was up in the Senate. It didn't end up passing, but it ended up being a topic that I used for my thesis as a political science major at St. Ben's. And so kind of like delving into the politics of immigration law also helped keep it fresh. And I would definitely recommend interning or working as a legal assistant in an immigration law firm. I did that while I was at St. Ben's one summer, and I did that also before I started law school.
Look, I think the best reasons to go to law school are twofold. One, if you have a really good idea of what it is you want to do with your legal education, which it sounds like Robin did. I think maybe Ashley did. I did not. I absolutely did not. I thought I wanted to be an oil and gas lawyer in Texas. Whatever. When I went to law school. So that's, if you know what you want to do, I mean, I'm not saying if you know I want to be a litigation associate at Best and Flanagan or Oppenheimer, Wolf and Donnelly in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I mean, if you know that to that degree of certainty, more power to you, then you should go. But if you have a good idea of how you want to use your legal education, go. Number one. Number two, if it's free or pretty close to it, you're getting, if you get a great kind of scholarship opportunity to go. I would say that if you're in a position where you're confronting taking on a lot of debt, you're thinking of going to law school because you're a political science major and that's what you're supposed to do, which isn't the other reason that I did. I remember going home for Christmas and my dad said, well, I mean, it's law school or what? You know, and I think there are a lot of great opportunities that he wouldn't have understood that are available to people of our generation, your generation, because we might not even be in the same generation. So I guess the answer is you need to make up your own mind, but think about it. Don't, because you have all these other great opportunities, and you can always get to law school because all the other people on this panel got there.
I'm a Republican. No, as a poli-sci major, I kind of, to Tim's point, I kind of had that, I was facing the fact that for me it was I either go to law school or I have no idea what I'm going to do with my life. And so I was set on going to law school. I took the LSAT my senior year about this time, whenever they offer it, I don't know, in the fall. And I was gonna go to William Mitchell, and I just decided not to. I mean, I really honestly had no better reason other than I just really wasn't 100% into it. I just couldn't quite bring myself to do it. So I started working. I actually worked at United Healthcare for about 15 months doing something completely unrelated to my degree, but it was a job and it paid the bills. And then I got into campaign politics and legislative politics and all these things that honestly I didn't even know existed during college. Opened up, kind of like what Tim was saying, and there was this whole other world of things that I really loved doing. And for me personally, I didn't need law school to love what I was doing. And, that kind of ran its course for about 4 years or so, and I had this other, opportunity that I found now. And I'm still kind of the case of, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. But I'm okay with that. Maybe I'll go to law school someday. But for me, I wanted to take the time. I made a conscious decision to give it a year or two. If I really have that burning desire to go, then go. And that's what I found, worked for me. And
I'll let Robin finish off. We both went to William Mitchell, and there's a lot of things that we could talk about. I think network would be a big one, and then the region. So if you go to a place like William Mitchell, it'd be because very likely you want to stick around Minnesota or the Midwest, and they have the largest network in Minnesota. So, I mean, that was a big part of that decision. I knew that I wanted to stick around here. Knew that they had a great network, and I utilized that network. Another piece of that is that you want to be able to go to a place that will allow you to utilize your talents and demonstrate them. Gives you opportunities to be in internships, externships, etc. So a place that has a lot of those offerings is pretty important as well, and that's what went into my decision.
Yeah, very similar comments. I knew that I wanted to practice like nonprofit or, some kind of low bono law. So I wasn't looking as much at the prestige, but I was looking for clinic programs. So William Mitchell has excellent clinics, so you can kind of, grow as a lawyer as you're going through school. And actually, I didn't really like law school, but I like so far being a lawyer. Law school was like reading, a lot of different things that I was sort of interested in, some that I was interested in, but the clinics were the best. Anything that was more like being a lawyer than reading about being a lawyer, I enjoyed a lot more. And then I'm just going to echo about the alumni connections, the alumni networks. I landed quite a few internships because of that.